Hey everyone, welcome to Z Business Solutions. Today we're going to go over Bootstrap, and what Bootstrap is a framework that helps you to build responsive websites. And the website here, the description they give is build responsive mobile-first projects on the web with the world's most popular front-end component library. Bootstrap is an open-source toolkit for developing with HTML, CSS, and JS. Quickly prototype your ideas and build your entire app with our Sass variables and mix-ins, responsive grid system, extensive pre-built components, and powerful plugins built on jQuery. So basically what it is it's a framework that helps you to utilize HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build a responsive website in an easy manner without having to write a ton of CSS and a ton of JavaScript to have the functionality that they give you within inside of Bootstrap. So it's a very dynamic framework that's used, and it's a very popular framework as well. So let's go ahead and let's get started. What you're going to want to do is make sure you have an index HTML with your HTML boilerplate and then an index CSS. We'll write a little bit of CSS, more like maybe 10 lines of CSS, not that much. Basically what we're going to go over today is the Navbar for Bootstrap, and then in the following weeks we'll go over other components as well. So let's go back to the website here, and let's click on Get Started. And once we get into here, you're going to see there's a couple things that we need to put into our HTML right away. The first thing we need to do is we need to copy this link here, which is going to give us the ability to utilize the built-in CSS within Bootstrap. So we're going to go ahead and paste that right above our index CSS link here. And then we're going to go ahead and replace this JavaScript. We are not going to have to write any JavaScript at this moment, but we're going to go ahead and utilize the built-in JavaScript that comes with the Bootstrap framework. So go ahead and copy the JS portion here and go back and just paste it right here at the bottom of your body. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back into Bootstrap. And we're going to go over here to components. And in components, you're going to see these are all the different components that you can utilize to build. So you can build alerts, badges, there's breadcrumbs, which is basically it tells you kind of as you scroll down the page what part you are on the page. Buttons, button groups, different things like that, cards. And we'll scroll down here to Navbar, click on Navbar, and you're going to see here basically, it's going to give you some code, some starter code that you can utilize and adjust as you see fit. So it says documentation examples for Bootstrap Powerful Responsive Navigation Header. The Navbar includes support for branding, navigation, and more, including support for our collapsible plugin. And so basically what that is when you scroll down the content, so you know how when you scroll down your browser or you go to mobile, it gives you a little collapsible hamburger right here that hides all the nav content in it, and that's basically what you'll get standard inside the Navbar with Bootstrap. So what I'm going to go down here is go over a couple other things here. We'll go over some of this as we paste it in. So let's go ahead right here to the first Navbar, and here you have the starter code, and it's basically going to come out looking like this. So let's go ahead and copy it, come over into our HTML, and then we're going to Control V to copy or to paste that in there. And now let's go over some of the components. So you're going to see the first thing we have is an HTML nav tag, and this nav tag has a class of Navbar, Navbar Expand Large, and Navbar Light, and BG Light. So let's go ahead and open this up in our browser to see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And you'll see right at the top here, guys, our Navbar is already there. Now, you're going to see each of the links and components already here with the search bar as well. And let's go back to our code, and we can go through it. So the class of Navbar is in the nav component here is actually to make it so that the Navbar shows. The Navbar Expand Large base is telling it when to collapse, so you can put it as medium or small depending on when you want it to collapse down into the hamburger. And then the Navbar Light is the font color. So light will give you a black colored font, and then and then a dark one will give you a white colored font. So if you had a darker background to it, and then you want a white colored font or lighter colored font, that white colored font would be done by changing this to Navbar dash black or Navbar dash dark. And then this here, BG light, it stands for background. So this is the background. And again, this light one, it gives you a lighter background. And then there's different colors, as we can see. If we go over to utilities and we go to colors, you'll see all the different colors that you can utilize. So you can utilize any of these colors standard using Bootstrap. So text primary gives you a this lightish blue. Secondary is like a gray. Success is green. Dangerous red. Warning is yellow. Info is like this, almost like a tealish blue here. So if we go back here and we go ahead and let's go ahead and change our navbar. We're going to go ahead and change this to dark. And then we'll change this as well to dark, just to show you the colors, the different colors that comes out. So we come back to our Bootstrap window and we go ahead and refresh. You will see now it's changed to a dark without even having to write any CSS or anything on the back end. We've already changed it to dark and changed the font size to white. Now you'll see these links here. This one is an active link, and you can toggle this by using some JavaScript to, as you go through different windows, to highlight what window is active on there. This drop down here is the drop down class, and we'll see that in a second. But this is basically giving us the ability to have a collapsible link that has more than one page that is under that header. And then a disabled class, this could be used for anything that you want to, any link that you want to keep disabled until the user has done any type of, or met any type of standards on your form, and then you can enable that class. And then over here as well as the search bar, and we can change the search bar color as well. This right now is on success. So let's go ahead back over to this Bootstrap, and let's go back real quick into our components, and we're going to go into the navbar again and just kind of go over a few more of these things. Now, if we go into here, you're going to see the next thing is the A class, and this is the Navbar Brand. This is basically where you can put your logo and also where you want to put your company name. Then down here, you're going to see your Navbar Toddler. So this is what the toggler is. This creates the hamburger dropdown, and this is basically just the button that is created for that hamburger. Once the page has met the specific breakpoint to where you want to have that collapse occur. If we come down here, well, you'll see this is that active class that is on that nav item for home. So this li right here is what is showing as active at the moment. If we remove that active class, it would go to the others as well. mr auto is basically just bringing everything to the right. It's basically saying margin right auto, so it's bringing everything to as auto margin to the right in this UL. If you wanted to move everything to the left and switch it, you would use ML auto, and that will move everything to the left. Now, if same thing here. Now you have some more items. So anything that's inside this navbar, in navbar nav, which is the UL, anything inside here will become a nav item, and this nav item is basically telling it whether it's a link or whether it's just text, anything like that. This is basically how you get it to align perfectly inside the navbar. And so you'll see here we've got home, link, and then a drop down. This is that drop down, which is right here. And then here's everything in that menu, that drop down menu that's being dropped down once you hit that drop down menu. And then lastly, this is our disabled nav item with the class of disabled right here. And then it says aria disabled is equal to true. So this is where you would toggle that in your JavaScript if you were doing so. And then down here is our form, which is our search box. And this gives us the ability to put in search at the top of our nav bar, And if you didn't want that, you would just get rid of this form. And you can also add in things into this nav bar, like your social media links, anything like that. So again, if you look in here, you'll see the form has an input with a form control with a margin right of small 2, and then it's a type of search with a placeholder of search. And then if you look in here in the button, it has a class of BTN outline success. And then you'll see it's a type of submit. So if I wanted to change the color of this button, I could basically go to, let's say, primary. And if I did primary, it will change it to like a blue here. If I wanted to do it as a lighter one, we would use dark. I'll save that, come back over, refresh the page. And actually we wanted to use light. So if you wanted to make it a lighter one, you would use light. And we come over, we can save that. There it is, now it's a nice white. All right, so now let's look at a few other things that you can add into your nav bar. So as we come down here, you can see that right here, you can, in the Navbar Brand portion, you can utilize the an image source. This would be like your image logo or the logo of your company that you have on that page. And so basically, what you would do is, if you wanted to add in that image, you could just copy this portion here and then add it right into that A tag on the Navbar Brand. Again, I have here the Navbar class of active, and then you'll see as we scroll down, this kind of just gives you some other portions of the Navbar that you can utilize. This is showing the Navbar without the search, and if you continue on, this is just showing search by itself, and all the capabilities that you can have inside of Bootstrap using this Navbar. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start building out a website with it, and let's go ahead and enter in or start adding in some things into this Navbar to make it a little more dynamic and to make it a little more customizable. So what we'll do is we'll come over back into our index.html, and the first thing I want to do is I'm going to keep this as Navbar dark, but I'm going to take this BG dark off and save that, and instead I'm going to move over here into my index.css, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I want the nav to have a background color or I have a color code already that I wanted to use, which is 2090A6. So if we come back over to our Navbar, you will see once I refresh it, now it's got this light tealish blue color. And as we move along, you'll kind of see what we're going to do with this. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in that image class from the Bootstrap here. And we're going to come back over into the index.html, and I'm going to add that right here in my A tag. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete Navbar, and I'm going to enter that in here. And so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go ahead and make this a basically like a surf store almost, where you can go and buy products like surfboards and wetsuits and that kind of thing. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll add in a little logo. I found this logo on unsplash.com, which is a great place to find any kind of pictures that you can utilize for free. So I'm going to go ahead and copy a link that I had previously for Unsplash, and you guys can go ahead and do the same. Come back over here, go into our Bootstrap tutorial, and there's our logo right there. And so right there, we're also going to want to have the name of our surf shop as well. And so we'll call it Surfs Up. So let's go ahead right underneath our image there, right. We'll go ahead and we'll say Surfs up. And you'll see actually in our image source tag here, we already are setting a width and a height. I don't like to use inline CSS like that, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out. And then I'm going to come into my CSS here, and I'm going to say Navbar Brand image, and I'm going to do a width of 30 pixels and a height of 30 pixels, just so we can keep as much CSS separate as possible. Okay, everything else we're going to keep the same for right now. There's one other functionality that we're going to add into the nav class up here, but for right now we're going to leave it be until we're ready to do some more. So right here right here for home, we're going to leave that the same. For link, I was going to do an about page. And then right for the drop down portion, let's go ahead and let's call that shop. And for each of the drop downs, we're going to have a boards. So this will be your surfboards that you can buy or look at. And another action, we're going to take this and we're going to make this into wetsuits. And then this last one here will be accessories. And then lastly, I think this is exactly the way I want that. Yes, so we're going to leave this the same. So you'll see now, after we save it, go back, refresh. Looks like something happened with our photo there. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at our index CSS real quick. I think I forgot the period in front of Navbar Brand, so let's go ahead and click on that, save, and go back to here and hit refresh, and that should give us, there we are. One thing I wanted to do, and I didn't do, is I want to take out this disabled class. We don't need that for now. It doesn't serve a purpose for what we are doing. So we'll go ahead and remove that, and here we go. Here is our shop. If you click on the drop down here, you have boards, wetsuits, and accessories, and then you'll see there's a drop-down divider here in this div. That is this little line in the drop-down right here, this little line that you have here. And then it's a fully responsive out of the box. We did not have to do anything with it. As we scroll down, it collapses down. Here's your hamburger. Boom, comes down, and then you see everything underneath it as well. So that is it, guys, for the navbar portion. There's one other thing I want to show you with the navbar. And it all depends on your preference on whether you want to do it or not. But out of the box, the navbar doesn't stick to the top. It actually will go away as you scroll down. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to enter in a couple things into our HTML that we have not, that we're not going to fully go over in this video, but it will be in the next video. And that's the Bootstrap cards. And so we're going to come over here to cards. And I'm just going to scroll down until I see the card group. Which is right here, card deck. This is what I want, card deck. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come back over to my code editor, and then right under my nav, I'm going to paste one, and I'm going to do one more underneath that. And so what we're going to do with this card deck is this is going to give us the ability to add in some nice cards that show different photos and can provide also links as well, so that way we can link to different pages if we would like to. We can walk through it really quickly, and basically what card deck is it looks like a deck of cards like this. It has an image cap right on the top, a card title, you can give a different title to each of it, a little description, and then also if you're using this as like something for a blog or something like that, you can put in another little paragraph or a descriptor in here that gives you where you can update it to say, you know, how long ago this was posted or when this last image was updated. If you're doing a gallery, same type of thing, you could do that as well. So if you come into here, you'll see that the card deck has a div wrapper that wraps the entire thing, and then underneath that there's a class of card. And then you have it there. Here's your image. This is the top image. And so we'll put some images in from Unsplash. And actually, we'll just go to Unsplash real quick and we'll grab some images. So let's just go to Unsplash and we'll go ahead and search for any high resolution photo. So I'm just going to say surf. And then come in here, and here's one here. So I'm going to copy the image address for this one, come back, and I'm going to paste it here in the source. Let's grab a few more. This one looks good. Actually, we'll do this one here. This one looks good. Copy image address. And then let's go ahead and do another image address there. This one looks pretty cool right here. And coming back into here, let's do, this one's kind of neat. And then I'll just grab a couple more guys. Okay, so once I had those in there, I'm going to come back over to my tutorial portion. I'm going to do a refresh, and you'll see here are my cards. Now you'll see that everything's kind of like bunched all up here into this. So what I'll do first, I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to do one thing in CSS real quick, and I'm going to take the card. I'm going to actually take this cards, and we'll put them in a section with an ID. We'll go ahead and cut that out there, and then we'll bring that down here underneath the div. And then we're going to go ahead and give this an ID of card section. We'll close that out, make sure that's closed out there. And then let's go ahead and come into our CSS here, and we're going to do a card section. And we're going to give it a padding top of 60 pixels. And then we're also going to come into here, and then we're going to put a break in between here. Just to give that a little spacing between the two different card decks. And then I want to do a div right at the top of the card deck section here. I'm going to do a div, and then in this div I'm going to do an h1 with a class of text center. And what this will do is this will automatically center the text for me, so I don't have to write any CSS on it. And then we're going to do the title or the name of our business, Surfs Up. So we'll go ahead and put that in our h1, and then right underneath this div here, I'm going to give one more break tag just to break it up a little bit. And let's go back to our file here, refresh, and it'll look a little bit nicer. So there it is, right there, guys. We can even do on this card section. Let's go ahead and give it a margin for right and left. So I'm going to do just a margin of 0. Let's do 40 pixels, and then 0 and 40 pixels, and that should give us a little bit of margin on the sides there. Then there we go. And if we scroll down, you'll see that our nav bar disappears as you scroll down. So like I said before, this is a personal preference if you want to have that to, and actually we'll give it a margin bottom. Let's give it another margin bottom of 40 pixels here. So we're going to give it a margin of 40, 40, 40. 0, 40, 40, 40. And that will give us a little bit of space here on the bottom as well. So now we have a little space here on the bottom. But as you see, like again, guys, like I was talking about, we have a nav bar here, and it disappears as you scroll down. Now, if you want to give it to some pages, and some people like that, but if you want to give it the functionality to where as you scroll down, it sticks to the top, What we'll do is we'll come back into the index.html, and we'll, right after this navbar dark on the nav, where we start the nav and the nav tag, we're going to do sticky dash top, and that will make it to where that nav bar sticks to the top as we scroll. So now you see the nav bar stays right in view as you scroll all the way down. So this is good also when you have a mobile view. You can scroll and see everything as you're in the mobile portion and still get to that hamburger at all times. And then also notice, guys, as we move down, the cards all stacked on top of each other. And this is just an amazing functionality for CSS, for something that you would have to do in CSS, a lot of responsiveness in CSS you'd have to use with media tags if you did not have this functionality inside Bootstrap that comes out of the box. So guys, that's creating a navbar in Bootstrap with Bootstrap, a little bit of CSS, and then HTML. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure that you let me know in the comments if anything that you guys have any questions on, or if there's anything else that you guys want to see done in Bootstrap. We're going to go over these cards more in depth, and then we'll also add in some new pages, and we'll eventually go into doing some back-end stuff to be able to make this a dynamic website. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I will see you next time.